Guys, Deluded Guna, Mr. N'Golo Kante, Mr. Sauce on Spill, the only YouTuber that knows a thing, the only YouTuber that doesn't need to rant, rave and shout and just gives you facts. Let's get into it. Now, I've seen a little bit of this player, but a lot of my friends have been saying you've got to make a vid about him. You need to watch him under the microscope. He's getting a little bit of buzz from big teams. His name's Keinan Davis. He plays for Villa. And as I got into his story, I must say, I've seen a little bit of clips and I've watched a couple games of him, managed to watch them online, and I am impressed with him. Obviously, I'll allude to it earlier in the video, but what mainly impressed me is, firstly, he's done terrifically well to be at Aston Villa. Yes, on the surface, it doesn't look like much, but he came a long way. He was at Stevenage. He used to make a several-mile trip every training session. He actually used to walk. That was in an article. So that shows how much he wanted to be a footballer. Stevenage released him, told him he'd never play professional football. Now, at the time, I don't know if Stevenage were in the Conference League 1, League 2, whatever. But he's now playing Championship football and he's being linked with some Premier League clubs. He's been capped by England's under-20. So he's fought a long way back from the darkness to have some light in his career. And that sort of level-headedness will serve him very well because he's still young. Footballers have ups and downs, injuries and things. God forbid he has a clear run, but these things tend to happen. He went to a non-league side, a very good grassroots non-league side after dropping down the levels, and they worked with him, and he got his deal in. I think he had his trial, and he signed a deal for Aston Villa subsequently. I actually saw him against Arsenal. He played against Villa. He bagged 2 goals for the under-18s, and I wouldn't say he's prolific at youth level. That's probably from looking at his stats. I got them to hand. For his under-23s and the 28 appearances, he's got 6 goals, 8 assists. That shows you someone that's not really prolific, really, or someone that, if you're a striker, again, yes, there are strikers that are praised for their work rate, for their movement, for bringing players in, but you can only become so good or be rated past a certain to a certain extent by being that. Whatever way we look at it, the best strikers have an amount of being able to score, about an amount of bravado and greed, so you need to be able to score goals. He's not very prolific in that front, but his assists show that he's a very good team player. That's the thing that impresses me. He works very hard. He runs his socks off. I don't have any stats to hand, but he must run a ridiculous amount when he plays. He's very strong. His hold-up play. I believe he's left-footed because it does look like he's left-footed, and he can improve his finishing with his weaker foot. There's some chances he can take, but there's a rough time in there, and you can see why. I think it was Remy Gard or someone that gave him his chances, and you can see why he's in Steve Bruce's thoughts. He made 6 appearances in the Championship towards the end of the season last year, impressing against Brighton. This year he's made 9 appearances and got 2 goals or something like that. So he's doing his thing. He's in the manager's thoughts. He bagged against Burton and Barnsley. That's to do wonders for his confidence. Apparently Norwich and a couple other Prem clubs are interested in him. I can't see Villa letting him go. But along with him, Hepburn Murphy, Andre Green, and a couple other players I probably don't know about, Villa have a decent little crop coming through. And sadly in football they will likely be poached, but it would be good if they could have a little crop, develop them, hopefully get back in the Premier League. Because I wouldn't say support Villa or care about Villa, but it does look a bit odd without them in the Premier League. Like I said, man, he's got the work ethic. I like that he thinks ahead, and he can think ahead. He's got good movement and stuff. His hold-up play is good. He's pacey. He's fairly pacey. He's strong. He doesn't. How can I put it? He doesn't get scared at centre halves. He cherishes the physical battle and things. For me, the finishing just needs to improve because you can only get a certain amount of places. He reminds me of playing wise, but a bit like Calvin Lewin of Everton. He's a good team player. He can stretch the team. He'll work so hard. But at the end of the day, you need to be able to finish if you're going to be a striker, or you can only do this working hard thing to a certain extent, or be at a certain level, and you won't be able to graduate past that. But he is a player I like a lot, man. You've seen him play in the FA Cup a couple of times. You've seen him play in the Championship. Obviously, he's made a very decent start to Premier League Championship life. He's been capped internationally at under-20, so he's now in their thoughts. And obviously, if you're capped at under-20s, he's a long way off immediate thoughts of Gareth Southgate or whoever's going to be involved. But he's very good for someone that was released by Stevenage and told he wasn't going to have a career and would have to probably obviously work in some sort of different walk of life. You can't do nothing but applaud him, and I hope he goes as far as his career and his work ethic can take him. Guys, thank you for watching. Deluded Guna. Get in the comments, subscribe. You know the rest. Thank you very much.